I've been keeping a close eye on this mosquito situation that's going on, and it's really starting to gain momentum now. Certain officials in certain areas have put out recommendations on when they think people should stay inside and when it's safe to go outside. And of course, you all know some places have what they are calling voluntary lockdowns, and they got curfews in some areas as well. But it was funny because I was looking into these hours that they claim are the most dangerous hours, and I was looking at this schedule that they put out, basically telling people, hey, you can come out now, but you can't come out at this time or that time. And basically the message that is being sent here, when you look at these schedules that have been released, is that, hey, it's safe to go to work. It's safe to send your kids to their public indoctrination camps, aka public school. It's safe to go work your 9 to 5, but it's not safe to do activities with your family afterwards. It's safe to send your kids to school to be indoctrinated by our creepo weirdo teachers, but it's not safe to enroll them in after-school programs because of the big bad mosquitoes. Basically, it's like, hey, in your free time, you need to be inside because that's when the mosquitoes are going to get you. But when we need you on the clock out here running our businesses, don't worry, there's no danger there. And it's really sending the message that mosquitoes decide, hey, we'll leave you alone now, but we're going to spread a disease to you if you come outside after 5 p.m. And listen, I get that some hours are worse than others when it comes to insects and mosquitoes, but let's be real here, folks. Mosquitoes are kind of a bug that are outside all day, right? So pretending like, oh, these certain hours of the day that all happen to be the hours in which people have free time. Like early in the morning when people want to go on jogs or work out, that's not safe. It's only basically safe to go to work. And, I can't help but notice that there's been an effort lately over the last, you could even say a decade or so, to really, there's been this effort to get people to stop coming outside. It's like they're afraid of people touching grass. They want us all kind of like plugged into our chairs, plugged into AI headsets or something. You know what I mean? There's this real effort to scare people into not living their lives, into not enjoying the outside world. And when I look at this story, when I look at these recommendations of the hours in which you should be inside or it's safe to be outside, I can't help but feel like this may be part of that bigger plan. That bigger plan to really just convince people that outside is dangerous because of so many different reasons. And, they just really want to, I know it sounds cliche to say take our freedoms from us, but I feel like that's what they want. I feel like the powers that be want to enjoy the beauties and the wonders of the world, and they want us to not do so. They kind of want us, like I said, all inside, all afraid. And I don't know about you all, I do take these diseases seriously because I do know these are real diseases that are being spread, and this has been happening for a long time with mosquitoes. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to change my life. I'm going to go outside when I want to, and I'm going to live. And I think that's what they don't want us to do. But as I said, health experts are now issuing these warnings, and I want you all to watch this news clip really quickly because they were talking about it on the news today. And then after this clip, I'll be right back with more thoughts.
More on what we need to know and how to protect ourselves, let's bring in Dr. Frida Fisher, founder and president of her own nephrology practice. Dr. Frida, good morning to you. These warnings sound incredibly serious. Help us understand the magnitude of this.
They are serious, Brooke, because though it is rare, Triple E is potentially very fatal. We know that back in 2019, it had a 50% mortality. The typical mortality is about 30%, meaning that 30% of the people who get the encephalitis from the virus will die. And so it's very serious to know how to protect yourself, because we actually, unfortunately, have no specific treatment for the EEE virus. There's no specific human vaccine. And so the prevention is key, and recognizing symptoms is key.
Right. What are some of those signs and symptoms that people should be aware of?
Yes. So most people will have no symptoms, but about 4 to 10 days after being bitten by a mosquito, people can develop confusion, headache, fevers, diarrhea. And if it progresses to encephalitis, which is inflammation of the brain, or meningitis, which is inflammation of the membrane surrounding the brain and spinal cord, it could lead to paralysis, intellectual disability, and even death.
What precautions can people be taking? I mean, I think hearing these headlines is also so scary because, you know, you've got kids playing outside in the summertime. You've got kids going back to school. I mean, regardless, anyone being outside, what precautions can people take?
Not being outside, Brooke. So the
Yeah.
mosquitoes are they're mostly in the dusk and dawn. And so in the evening times and the morning times, which is when kids like to play or when you walk your dog, that's when you need to avoid being outside. You also want to avoid wearing short sleeves, even though it's the summertime. You want long sleeves tucked into long pants. Avoid standing water being around the house. And in the house, make sure that your doors and your windows are sealed tightly. Also, pay attention to what's going on in your local departments of health, because they're doing aerial spraying to make sure that the mosquitoes are, not able to really proliferate, and also wearing an EPA approved repellent. Okay, so something with DEET, DEET will be helpful as well. And if you get bitten by a mosquito and then you develop flu symptoms, especially if you're immunocompromised, consult with your physician immediately.
If you can, put this into some context for us compared to other mosquito-borne illnesses in America. How does this compare?
So, it's similar in a way to West Nile virus, even the Jamestown Canyon virus, as far as the mosquito bites causing the infection. I'll tell you what is some good news, I guess a little bit of a silver lining. It's not contagious from person to person in the sense that touching another person with it, you can't get it that way. Sneezing, coughing, respiratory droplets, which we are all too familiar with, you can't spread it that way. It's not contagious in that fashion. You can only get it, as far as we know, if you're bitten by a mosquito. And so it tends to be rare. In fact, in 2021, according to the CDC, there were only 5 cases in the United States. Nevertheless, as we see, one case can be enough, and it can unfortunately cause a fatality, as what happened with this man in New Hampshire. And there are other cases. Already we know that there's a case in Massachusetts, a case in New Jersey, a case in Vermont, a case in Wisconsin. And so people just need to be aware that, especially if you're in a high-risk area, it can happen to you. So take the precautions and try not to get bitten by a mosquito.
Yeah, an important warning. Dr.
I've mentioned before that there are several reasons why I find this story so concerning, but I haven't gotten into all of those reasons yet. So let me get into another one of those reasons right here for you all today. You see, there's no cure for most of these diseases that are being spread by these mosquitoes. And yes, that sounds concerning within itself. But what's even more concerning to me is, because there's no cure and there's no medication for this stuff, it leaves the window open for these big companies to try to create a cure, to try to provide a solution. And we all know there's big money involved in cures and solving problems. So we're looking at a situation here where we could have something kind of forced on us in the way that we had it forced on us a few years ago, which is another reason why I say, hey, we need to pay attention to this, because there's companies all around the world that are already getting ready to start pumping out experimental medications and cures for this stuff that I know most of you all don't want to get. And I don't want to see another situation where people are losing their jobs for, not going along with what they want us to go along with. I got to be careful how I talk here. So I do find this concerning because, like I said, we have a wide open window for the same companies that we dealt with a few years ago. We know how evil they are. We know how money hungry they are. This is providing a huge opportunity for them. And in many ways, maybe that's one of the main reasons why this story is starting to spread, and why I think we should stay on top of it. Because it's obvious that they're looking, for a way to come in, swoop in, and make a lot of money while snatching away some of our freedoms and scaring another large portion of our population. I still see people all the time walking outside, 100-degree weather in masks, walking by themselves on the sidewalk outside in 100-degree weather wearing masks. They can barely breathe, okay? And there's other people just like them that they're wanting to scare, because their tactics, it might not work on me and it might not work on you, but it works on a hell of a lot of people. And we can't forget that. But for now, I want you all to let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell. And I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.